So, Stephen and I have done our fair share of vacation rental setups over the years, and it's like half art, half science. You've got your budget and logistics and your business plan on one side, and then the other side is more creative with interior design and really creating like a whole vibe for your property. The key to a good setup is finding a balance between those two sides.
We've taken all the struggling properties we've encountered over the years, as well as our experience with setting up properties from scratch, and compiled them into a list of the top 10 mistakes to avoid when setting up a vacation rental. If you stick through to the end, we'll be sharing our number one tip for success when setting up a rental property.
Before we get into the nitty gritty of the episode, please take a second and hit that like and subscribe button, and I will give you a few seconds to do that. Good? Okay, let's go.
The first mistake we see happen too often is not making a budget.
Setting up a vacation rental property can be a lot of fun. You get to kind of dip your toes into interior design, and you get to shop for a whole house worth of furnishing and decor. And that's a scale of purchasing that some people may never do in their lives. But it's also important to remember that this is first and foremost a business, and hopefully a profitable one. So do yourself a favor before you get started, set yourself a budget, and hold yourself accountable to it.
Number two on the list is planning ahead. This is sort of a natural next step after a budget, but it's also time consuming. When we look back on setups where we've done proper planning, they've been the smoothest, the quickest, and that means quicker time to market where you can start renting the property.
Yeah, so my process is working simultaneously in Google Sheets and Canva. So Canva is where I'm creating my mood board, and I'm getting a visual idea of how I want the space to look room by room. Using mood boards is really a helpful tool in getting that cohesive look throughout the whole property. So as I'm creating a mood board, I'm finding the item online, I'm putting the picture into Canva, and I'm also putting the item information, the price, the store that it's from, and a link to the specific item into my Google spreadsheet. So then when it comes to purchasing, I can go through and say, okay, here's everything that I want to get from Target. I click through the links, add to the cart, and then I'm done. And then when I get to the property during the setup, I can pull up my mood board, say, okay, this is where these nightstands were going to go. This is where these pillows were going to go. This artwork that was going to go in this room. And it just makes everything so much more smooth. That's something that I would love to cover more in depth in another video if there's interest. So if you are interested in learning more about our setup processes and how we make things run really smoothly, let us know in the comments.
The next mistake is purchasing too many things at IKEA or at thrift stores. We know that spending $10, $15, $20,000 on a property after you've just, laid down all your cash for a big down payment and all the other things that come with purchasing a house is scary. It can be really tempting as you walk through IKEA or Walmart, and not to discount those stores, they have a place for certain things, but it can be really tempting to just pick up the cheapest item of everything. But I really strongly discourage you from doing this.
When we're looking for items for a vacation rental, we have this sort of trifecta of qualities that we're looking for. So it needs to be at a good price point, it needs to be durable, and it needs to be aesthetically pleasing. It needs to look good. I guess there's also a fourth quality, which is hopefully it's in stock and there's a quick shipping time. It's not easy to find items that have all of these qualities, but it is possible, we promise.
And to make things easy for you, we've put a link in the video description to our spreadsheet with all of our sample inventory that you can access for free.
Yeah, this list is super comprehensive, and it actually includes a link to every single item, so it makes your ordering super easy. So back to what Stephen was saying about, thrift stores and IKEA having their place. There are some things that we really do like to look for in those shops. For example, at thrift stores, we like to look for pottery and baskets and sometimes artwork and unique decorative items for shelf styling. Furniture at thrift stores is hit or miss. Like, we got super lucky with this solid wood coffee table that we put at Carranza Cove. It's huge and it's in perfect condition. But if the furniture that you're seeing is not in pristine shape, or you don't have the time or the skill set to make it look beautiful, then just say no to the thrift store furniture.
Some good things to buy at IKEA are hangers, wine glasses, dishes, and we also buy these wide mouth soap dispensers that are really easy to fill. They also have super cheap little hand broom and dustpan kits. It's a nice addition to under the sink. And what else?
Oh, we buy sometimes those Riba frames and we'll fill those with a digital download artwork from Etsy or sometimes even photographs that I take myself.
The fourth mistake that we see is not considering the occupancy of your property when doing the setup.
This one really gets me all riled up. Please, 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 if you take nothing else from this video, please take this away. If your property is advertised to sleep 4 or 6 or 8, make sure that you are properly set up for 4 or 6 or 8. In particular, make sure that your living room seating can comfortably seat the entire group if they all want to sit down and watch a movie together, or they should all be able to sit down at the table together and eat a meal at the same time. No one should have to eat in shifts. That's not cool.
Number 5 is bed cramming. We've seen this with a handful of other management companies who give advice to owners, and it just baffles us every time. The logic, at least, is that more people equals a higher nightly rate. What we find is that more people just means a higher number of people to divide the cost of the trip by, and you open yourself up to more of a party crowd, and that's something we just don't want. The limit of 2 people per bedroom is adequate. We find when you do a proper setup with good amenities, you can book the house at top pricing with a reasonable occupancy.
Unnecessary risk.
Unnecessary risk, really. That's what it comes down to. Parties, wear and tear, etc.
Number 6 is skimping on kitchen amenities. This kind of goes hand in hand with designing your space with your occupancy in mind. You also need to be setting up your kitchen with your occupancy in mind. So, aside from generally having a well-stocked kitchen for food prep, you also want to make sure that you have enough for each person. So our general rule of thumb is to have 2 per person of things like sets of dishes, silverware, glasses, coffee mugs, things like that.
Number 7 is subpar mattresses and pillows. I know you've probably been eyeing that very cheap used mattress on Facebook Marketplace, but just don't do it. People at the end of the day, they're paying you for a place to sleep, first and foremost. We've found that there are plenty of bed-in-a-box memory foam mattresses these days, varying comfort levels, and they're
varying levels of firmness.
Yeah.
They're all comfortable.
They're all comfortable. Some people prefer firmer, but anyways, those bed-in-a-box memory foam mattresses are the thing to get. They hold up well. They all come with long warranties for reasonable costs, and people love them. So that's mattresses. Also pillows. We like 2 sort of levels of firmness per person. So, normal bed with 2 people would have 4 pillows, 1 softer pillow, 1 firmer pillow. Gives people a choice.
Everybody has a different preference, so we're just trying to please as many people as we can by providing multiple options. We've actually linked all of these options in that sample inventory that we've been talking about. So make them happy, give them a good bed. Number 8 is buying bedding that's difficult to launder. The biggest logistical problem that most people run into in operating an STR is laundry. It's the time that it takes during the turnover to complete the laundry. We try to combat this with using a layered system. Our typical setup is to have sheets and then just a simple white quilt and then another warmer layering blanket that we keep folded in the closet that guests can add on as needed. Pieces that individually can launder and dry relatively quickly. That also means that we try and avoid things like heavy comforters that don't dry very quickly, or like duvet covers that have like the buttons all along the bottom and are a pain to take on and off. If you are going to go the duvet route, we've had good luck with a brand called Fix Linens, and they have this easy zip system that makes it easier to take it on and off.
We believe and practice the idea that you need to launder every piece of bedding between every guest. So setting yourself up with things that are easy to launder and turn around is the way to go. Number 9 is not including smart home equipment in your rental. This is things like smart locks, a Wi-Fi thermostat, a noise monitor, maybe a driveway camera. We've done a whole video outlining, the reasons why these things are important, and check that out. We'll put a link in the description below, but don't skimp or avoid smart home equipment. It'll make your life easier.
Number 10 on our list today of short-term rental setup mistakes is not including family-friendly amenities. For a relatively small cost, you can pick up things like a high chair, a pack and play, an infant bath insert, like outlet covers, things that are going to make your property stand out and appeal to more families, and basically just opening yourself up to a broader demographic and therefore hopefully getting more bookings in the process. I know that we personally as parents understand that It's a big pain to try and pack all of the things that you need to travel with kids, especially babies. So having, a pack and play and a high chair, that's a huge thing that we look for when booking properties for ourselves. So we know we're not the only people out there looking for those things.
Another thing in the kitchen is kids' dinnerware.
Yes.
These are cheap to buy packs of kids' plates, bowls, silverware, cups. Families will enjoy it. You'll probably enjoy it because it means less, of your ceramic dishes that get handled by kids and potentially broken. So
For sure.
All right, so we've covered a long list of the things that you shouldn't do when setting up your short-term rental. So now let's talk about our number one tip for creating a top-rated Airbnb. One more quick reminder to hit that like and subscribe button, and if you learned something new today, leave us a comment below and tell us about it.
The most important thing when setting up a short-term rental is keeping the guest top of mind at every stage in your planning and your setup process. It's one thing to design a beautiful space, and it's another thing to design a space that's beautiful but also functional and intentional. And guests notice when you set it up for them. For example, maybe someone will be traveling and wanting to work on their laptop on the couch. Look around. Is there an outlet nearby where they can plug in their charger? If not, maybe you consider putting a charging dock at the side table that they can use.
a functional area is making sure there's plenty of hangers or luggage stands in the bedroom. Guests like to unpack, get settled for their stay, and hanging up their clothes or not having to bend over. I'm a tall guy, having to bend down onto the floor of my suitcase, that's a pain. And luggage stands are pretty inexpensive and just a nice little touch that will elevate your guest experience.
That's really what it comes down to, is these little touches that will elevate your guest stay from a good experience to a great experience. I guarantee that if you keep the guest experience top of mind throughout your setup process, then it's going to reflect in your reviews and hopefully going to get you some loyal and repeat guests.
So thanks for sticking through with this video. Hopefully you've learned something. Let us know any feedback you have in the comments below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.
See ya.